coming of the Spanish-American War, there's trouble in Cuba. America is threatening Spanish rule over Spanish colonies now that Spain has an iron grip rule over their colonies south of the U.S. There's an independent struggle being led by Jose Marti. Jose Marti, a poet, journalist, and a statesman, he's trying to lead a revolutionary group to get independence from Spain. Spanish General Valeriano Weyler is putting Cubans into reconcentration camps to keep them from starting the revolution. We Americans, we're sympathizing with the Cubans. We want them to start this rebellion. We want them to be free. We want to expand an age of imperialism. Many Americans like me, we want our government to fight and help Cuba. Many yellow journalists are helping to stir the public support in U.S. intervention to aid the rebels in Cuba and Puerto Rico. Spanish sent a letter to the Cuba describing President McKinley as a weak and catering to the rabble and a low politician. I don't know about you, but that's not something I want people saying about my president. Spain blew up our ship, the USS Maine. Are we just going to stand by and let them do something like that to us? This is America. We do not sit by and let other countries attack. Remember the Maine. Remember the Maine.
And thus, a baby was born.
The war. The Spanish-American War. Technical difficulties. The battles of San Juan with the Rough Riders and Manila Bay in the Philippines with George Dewey, and how the Americans destroyed the Spanish Caribbean fleet. You're all going to learn about it here. Teddy Roosevelt, leading the Rough Riders on San Juan Hill. The Rough Riders, as you know, were a volunteer fleet, or not fleet, like group, I guess you could say, and they're magnificent. Now, Teddy Roosevelt wasn't exactly there for the San Juan Hill battle, because he just kind of rode in at the end and took a lot of the credit of it, but he wasn't really there. But so what went right with the war was there was a few American casualties. It demonstrated our military power. George Dewey's fleet opened fire on the Spanish fleet and didn't lose a single ship. A single ship! It's freaking Spanish. The war only lasted 4 months. So that was pretty intense. I mean, the world wars lasted forever, it seems, compared to this. Now, what went wrong? Hey, co-workers. 5,500 Americans died in this war. Soldiers lacked proper equipment and supplies, and most had heavy wool uniforms, so they were walking around with these huge uniforms that just weighed them down and made life suck. And it costed, holy crap, that's a big number, $250 million to fight this war. That's just too much. In the end, Spain forfeited. So close. Spain forfeited. We had a stronger navy, and it was just easier to supply the soldiers. We were just more motivated to fight. And that's it.
Well, look at those under the table drugs.
The war is over. August 12th, 1898. Treaty of Paris is signed December 10th. Cuba is independent. Pacific Island of Guam and Puerto Rico ceded to the USA. For $20 million, the Philippines also to the U.S. U.S. become a colonial empire in the world. Fierce debate has started in the Senate over imperialism. Anti-Imperialist League opposes establishment of the U.S. colonies. The Senate debate lasted for a month. The treaty is ratified on February 6, 1899. U.S. needed to compete equally with other great nations. Cuba was in ruins. After the U.S. withdrew troops in 1902, they made the Platt Amendment. The Platt Amendment allowed U.S. to intervene in Cuban affairs and to buy or lease land for U.S. naval bases. The U.S. finally agreed in 1934 to repeal the Platt Amendment. The U.S. naval base still operating today in Guantanamo Bay.
Mr. Wigington! No! No!
I think he's locked from that side, isn't
This
he?
is brought to you by Cam Wigington. He's looking at you.
A behind the scenes look of what Chase is doing. Nice toss right there. Nice toss.
See Joe's athletic.
Nice toss.
See Joe's athletic.
Oh, look at that toss.
Oh.
That toss.
Be athletic. I was like, Jesse, be athletic for 5 seconds. For 5.